A number of weeks ago, I'm sorry I can't stand up. I've got to speak to you sitting down. Sorry about that. A number of weeks ago, I asked Roger if he'd be good enough to give me about 7 minutes of this morning's programme. And he did. And it was to be the first 7 minutes, but I wanted Norma to be here. So I'm more or less bullied him into starting with the choruses. But she's still not here for some reason. So thank you for fitting me in. 7 minutes or thereabout. I'm going to take you back to the Dark Ages. All right? Half of you weren't even spots in your mother's eye on the day I'm mentioning. Roger would have been a wee boy running around in short trousers down in South Wales. His dear wife here would be a young girl with pigtails, no doubt, running about up in Stoke-on-Trent. On the 24th, Saturday, the 24th of October, 1959, not one, but two weddings took place in this room that day. In the afternoon, a young couple of about 20, 21 years of age got married, whose names, regrettably, I've totally forgotten, because within 3 months of getting married, they moved away from West Britain. The other couple were a bit older. In fact, they were getting on in years. They got married in the morning. The young lady involved came originally from Ireland, very spirited young lady with plenty of oomph in her, knew her own mind. She was 27 years old. The chap she was going to marry, he was 29 years old. And he came from Scotland, a rather dour customer who could be very determined at times. Didn't sound as if it would be a particularly good match, but they decided to get married, right? They met in his church in their middle teens in the Bible class. The only other two people who still worship here today, although one of them isn't here, is Barbara, she was in the girls' Bible class, and Norma, who date back to the 1940s. In 1945, this couple met each other for the first time. But 12 years went by before they took much notice of each other. The young lady says by then all that gang of 40 young people in the 40s was only her sitting on that shelf and me sitting on that one. So she infers that we were forced upon each other, which is not true. I remember their names. Her name was Venetia, and the lad's name was Robert. And we got married about 11 o'clock. This room was full of people, standing room only. And the minister at that time, none of us really knew his proper name. It sounds a bit odd. Andrew Jordan was what we called him, two biblical names. He changed his name because he was born in Cologne in Germany. Grew up there as a boy during Adolf Hitler's time. Was called up into the German army just a bit before he was 18. Oh, can you hear me? and was taken prisoner about a year later, a fortnight after D-Day landings in Normandy. He was taken prisoner and brought over to England and spent the last year of the war in the prisoner of war camp, German prisoner of war camp down in Kent. While he was in that camp, he got converted and became a Christian. He gave his heart to the Lord Jesus Christ and turned his life over. And when he got released, he went off and trained as a minister. And eventually, around about 1958, he was appointed the minister of this church. He spoke very correct English, all right? First-rate preacher, and he conducted our wedding service, the first one he'd ever done. He was a bit nervous. Hang on. I'm supposed to be using notes if I can find them. Keep me on the straight and narrow. And he, yes, Andrew Jordan. When he got to that point in the service, that unnerving moment, where he says, does anybody know any lawful impediment as to why these two people should not get married? But 10 seconds of silence, nobody spoke up. What a relief. And he went on and finished the job, but 7 or 8 minutes afterwards. Then he pronounces husband and wife, man and wife. And 60 years later, on Thursday, we're still man and wife. Isn't that good? It's been very successful in my point of view, anyway. Marriage, right? We've had our differences of opinion, two strong-minded people. I think there's only 2 occasions in 60 years where I've put the light out at night and not been able to say to her, good night, dear. Couldn't bring myself. Now, we've built our life on two principles, a biblical principle that somebody must have told us about at the time of our wedding, a verse from Ephesians, the New Testament book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 26, where the good advice is, let not the sun go down upon your wrath, your anger. If you've had disputes, settle them before you go to bed. Otherwise, they will fester into the next day and the next day and the next day, and it could lead to, marriage breakups and all that sort of thing, and unhappiness. I wouldn't say that Venetia and I haven't had our moments. By the way, she gave birth to 2 sons, one Alistair, one Bruce, now in their 50s. And generally speaking, we've had a very enjoyable marriage together. Now, the day we got married, and with this I close, Roger, with this I close. She was my sweetheart. And 60 years later, she still is, only more so. Now, before you all start bursting into tears, right, I'll stop and remind you that there's some grub being provided on the table. Do not rush away. Please linger and enjoy the good grub. Venetia laid most of it on. And I have in here a photograph of us on the day we were married with her relations. We're going to leave that on the table at the back at the end. And if you're interested, you can have a look. You don't have to. On the reverse side is a photograph of Andrew Jordan, our German pastor. Right? And Andrew Jordan, by the way, went on to become a well-known conference speaker. Very good preacher. He went to America, South Africa, Australia, up and down England, all over the place. Very able chap. So there we are. That's it. Thank you, Roger. Thank you. Oh, you don't have to clap, no. Now, I'm going to make my way to where I normally... I might need a bit of help to get on my feet.